Hello again, everybody. Welcome to Leading the Way Today, powered by Leadership America. I'm Scott Murray.
And I'm Angel Carlton. Great to have you with us as we share with you the insights of prominent and influential leaders from some of the most recognized companies and organizations in America.
We're going to be taking a peek behind the curtain at all of these successful for-profit and not-for-profit entities and share their secrets and strategies for success, as well as their perspectives on leadership and life.
From culture to collaboration, creativity to innovation, transparency to diversity, we'll be addressing how these leaders in America are creating legacies and leading the way today.
We're really excited about what we're going to be talking about today because there's probably not a soul that's listening today that at one time or another has not been to an airport or been on an airplane.
Right.
And we're going to talk to the largest airline in the world. Actually, we're not talking to the airline, but the gentleman that is responsible for
Right.
making sure everything goes the way it should each and every day.
Yeah.
But we're talking about American Airlines, a major U.S. airline headquartered in Fort Worth, Texas, within the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex. And it is the world's largest airline when measured by fleet size, revenue, scheduled passenger kilometers flown, and number of destinations served. Do you have any idea how many a day? How many destinations? How many flights take off? Any idea?
Oh.
Destinations, 350 on the planet, 6,700 flights
Wow.
per day.
Wow.
It's incredible. When I saw that, I thought it was a typo. I said that can't be possible. So I'm really excited to hear how that all came about. Well, I tell you what, when you talk about great organizations, we've got one here in-house with us today. And the gentleman that is the chairman CEO of this organization, known as American Airlines. He joined as the CEO back in 2013. I'm talking about Doug Parker, oversees American Airlines Group and American Airlines, its principal subsidiary company. Previously, he was chairman and CEO of U.S. Airways, and before the merger of U.S. Airways and America West Airlines, that back in 2005, he was chairman, president, and chief executive officer of American West. So he's worn that title for a number of airlines for a number of years. Became the CEO at American West just 10 days before that horrific day in our history, September 11th, 2001, led the carrier through that crisis. And his experience prior to joining America West back in 1995 includes 4 years with Northwest Airlines as VP, Assistant Treasurer, and Vice President of Financial Planning and Analysis. And you say, well, when did he really start? Well, actually, with American Airlines. From 1986 to 1991, he held a number of financial management positions with American, and now he's back as the chief cook and bottle washer.
Wow,
He's the head
full
honcho.
circle.
Now the chairman, CEO of American Airlines, Doug Parker. Welcome, my friend. How are you?
I'm excellent, Scott. Thank you. Hi, thank you, Angel. Thanks for having me.
Well, we're delighted to welcome you, and congratulations. It really was. I thought this was a typo. 6,700 flights per day. That's unbelievable.
Yeah, it's we're able to serve a lot of customers that way and take them pretty much anywhere around the world, which is what people want from their airline. So we're happy about that. We have a phenomenal team of team members at American who just do a great job of taking care of our customers every day. So
Well,
it's
obviously, you're doing something right at the top, so good for you. Congratulations.
Thanks.
One of the things that we do, Doug, we have a little fun with our guests each and every week, is we do a little something called our lightning round. It's 5 questions that hopefully will give our listeners an opportunity to get to know you a little quicker and a little better to who you are, where you came from, and what you're all about.
Okay.
So just quick little answers to these 5 questions. Your first job, and what did you learn from it?
My first job, the day I turned 16, I became a bagger at Kroger.
Really?
Yeah,
That's
in
great.
Michigan. My father was an exexecutive at Kroger, so he made sure I had a job the day I turned 16.
I bet he did.
What I learned from it is I wanted to go to college.
Get a real job, right?
Well, yeah, exactly. No, exactly. Look, I loved it, and it was a great job to have as a 16-year-old. What it really taught me is the value of work, and which my dad was sure that I learned.
Yeah.
And every year, the day I got home from college, he made sure I had a job up until the day I went back, and it served me well.
Well, obviously, you learned it well. Good for you.
Thanks.
Angel?
Yeah, very good. Okay, second question in the lightning round.
Yes.
Who were your top 2 mentors and how did they influence you?
Okay. All right. In the spirit of lightning round, I'll give you one, which is easier for me. One that you'll know, Herb Kelleher here in Dallas,
yep.
and amazingly enough, a competitor of ours, of course. So I've never worked for Herb, but I've gotten to know Herb well over the years, and just to me, the shining example of what leadership is, certainly in our industry. Someone who is a great listener, who learns from his team, who built a culture that is going to live way past him, and a culture that is focused on taking care of his team, and so that they can take care of the customers and servant leadership. All those things, they're just so Herb. And anytime I'm in his presence, I just try to soak it up as best I can. He's a great mentor.
Yeah,
Oh,
anyone
that's
who
great.
leads with love,
Yeah.
who's not afraid to put that in their mission statement,
Right.
gets my vote.
That's good stuff.
Yep.
How about this one, Doug? The most significant experience or turning point in your professional career in developing your skills in the leader that you've become?
Okay, I have one. I'm going to try and make it lightning. It's a longer story, but
No, go for it.
All right, so it goes like this. You mentioned in my background, I became CEO of America West in right after September, right after 9/11.
Right.
So in America West, we needed to get a government loan if we were going to survive that event. We just didn't have enough cash to make it through. So we were a small airline. We had to go lobby for a loan, or else we weren't going to survive. Up until that point, we needed to get this loan. It wasn't looking good. It was big news in Phoenix. It was big news at our airline. I was flying back from DC where I'd learned that we probably weren't getting the loan. We'd gotten a letter from the powers that be that said we're not ready to approve your loan at this time. I have this long flight back from DC to Phoenix, where I'm sitting in my seat, knowing that I generally go back and talk to the flight attendants in flight, but I don't want to on this flight because I can't. I know they're going to ask me how it's going, and I don't want to tell them the truth, and I'm not going to lie to them.
Right.
So I had this dilemma. Finally, I said, "Well, I have to go talk to them." So I go talk. I was figuring out a way to not tell the whole truth, not tell everything I know. Anyway, the flight attendant says to me, "How's it going?" I say, "Oh, not that good." She says, "What do you mean?" I said, "Well, it's just, we're having trouble getting the government to understand how important this is." And she says, "Well, what'll happen if we don't get it?" And I said, we won't have an airline. We literally will. We're not going to file Chapter 11. We will go away. We don't have enough cash in this environment. There's not people flying. And she just looks at me and says, "Well, you can't do that." And to which I said, "Well, okay." But in all sincerity, she just looked me in the eyes and said, "I'm a single mom, and I've built my life around this. I'm good at it," which she was, and I've been doing this for 13 years. This is what I do, and I don't have the ability to go do something else at this point in time. This is what I do, and you just can't let this go away. So with that ringing in my ears, I went back and settled in my seat and pulled the letter back out, and it said, can't approve it at this time. And it was Friday night, and we got the team together Saturday morning. We showed back up Monday morning with a new application at the Department of Treasury, and they said, "What are you doing here? Didn't you get the letter?" And we said, "We sure did. Here's another application." And we just didn't go away. Anyway, what happened as it relates to my career, from that point on, which was back, again, 9/11, we started working for something bigger than ourselves. We from that point, up until that point, I think a lot of people, nothing to apologize for, was focused on, my career and what job do I get next and how do I build the right career for myself. Mm-hmm. And it had gotten me to be CEO of America West. But once I really started working, not for my career, but understanding that there was something bigger than me that I wanted to go work for, which was making sure people like that woman didn't need to worry about, as long as she did her job well, she didn't need to worry about the company was going to be there for her. That led us to go do a merger with U.S. Airways that people thought was not that intelligent at the time, but worked out
Right.
great. That led us to fight like crazy to get the American Airlines merger done for our team because we needed to get those people into a safe harbor. So once I stopped thinking about my career and thinking about using what the skills that I had to go work for others, my career took off. Which is the ironic part of this. Once I figured out that find a cause that's bigger than me, it actually had the effect of my career doing even better. And I think that anyway, that's the lesson I learned.
What a great story. What a great lesson to learn from.
And I
my
wonder if
gosh.
that flight attendant has any idea the role that she played in shifting your leadership.
She's now the executive VP.
Right.
Yeah,
and it's those little things, and that's certainly the reputation you have as a leader. And speaking to some of the employees that I know at American, and and you truly are about the people.
You know what? That's true.
So
I hear that all the time. That's not just some good radio talk. I hear that all the time. He's a real people person. He cares about us.
The front line.
That's the ultimate.
Yep.
So good for you, Doug.
Well, that's what I'm supposed to do.
Yeah. But that doesn't always
They're
happen.
out there taking care of customers. We're supposed to make sure we're taking care of them. So yeah. Anyway, I don't know where that flight attendant is. I wish I did. She probably doesn't have any idea. I've told the story a number of times. I don't know. Anyway,
Great story.
But anyway, she's a symbol of 100,000 others that we need to take care of.
Absolutely. Good for you.
Yeah, great story. All right, well, next question, Doug,
Yes.
on our lightning round here. What is the best advice you'd give someone in the next generation? maybe stepping into the airline business or just a young professional?
Yeah, when asked by people entering the workforce, what I tell them is just know that relationships matter. It sounds simple, but sometimes, I think people can lose sight of the fact that business is a people business, all businesses, and relationships are important. And the people that succeed aren't those who go around and try and figure out who they should be nice to, and try and backstab others. The people that succeed are those who go treat everybody with respect, and do their jobs in a respectful manner to others, and take it seriously, and that other people want to work for. And from the day you walk in the door, you're starting to form those relationships. And the best way to do it is to treat everybody the same. Your boss, the people you work with, the people in other departments, the security guard, everyone, because you have no idea which of those people are going to be important to you in the future. So relationships really matter.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Absolutely.
They sure do.
Yeah.
Final thought.
Yes.
How would you define your legacy?
Oh, I don't know, Scott, that I particularly care about my legacy. What we care about right now is making sure that, at American Airlines, that we are building an airline. We're hiring, I just met a couple weeks ago with 120 new flight attendants, that are going to be with this company for hopefully 40, 50 years. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to be around then. But what I want to know is that the company that we're building today is going to be there for them. And it's going to be a fantastic airline for them. And what I don't want is someone 20 years from now to think, why didn't those guys that were here back in 2018 take care of this problem?
Absolutely.
So it's not so much, leaving a legacy. It is making sure that we're doing our job for the people that are showing up today, so that they're going to have an airline that's going to be great for them for 30, 40 years to come.
Great. And before we move forward with some of the incredible business practices and values and transforming culture happening day in and day out at American Airlines, I want to go to the military. Because when you talk about different corporations and people always saying, hey, we got to stand up, salute, and let people know if they have served, whether they're a vet or presently serving, keeping us all out of harm's way, any place on the face of this earth, we need to salute them and say thank you. And we do that. But so too do a select group of corporations and companies and organizations all around the United States, and one of which is front and center is American Airlines. And I know that firsthand because of all the hundreds of things that I get a chance to MC each and every year, one of my top one or two favorites is being a part of what they call Skyball. Snowball Express, Skyball, it's an initiative that American Airlines put together about 15, 16 years ago to thank our military, and together now with Gary Sinise and so many people that we've all come to know, they put together a 3-day event in October or November each and every year, just before Veterans Day, and it is above and beyond. And they do so in the hangar of American Airlines, so there's about 3,500, 4,000 people there. And that's when I see Doug Parker and all the other brass from American Airlines, along with admirals and Medal of Honor recipients and generals and you name it. They're all there. And it's very, very special. And so, and as a matter of fact, we had the only surviving member of Doolittle's Raiders there with us last year. So it's above and beyond, and I get a chance to serve as a master of ceremonies each and every year. So I'm most honored, and thank you for allowing me to be a part of your special family, because it is above and beyond, and it's one of my favorites, if not the favorite.
Well, thank you. You make it special. You help us make it special. It is definitely a special event. We had 17 Medal of Honor recipients this year.
It's crazy.
It's just an event like none other, and we raised a little over $3 million this year for the Air Power Foundation through this event, and then Air Power Foundation, distributes it to organizations such as Snowball Express, Gary Sinise Foundation, the Bush Institute Military Service Initiative, just phenomenal organizations. I like all that. My favorite part about it is 1,500 American Airlines employees volunteer for that event. 1,500 people volunteer their time.
Free of charge.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. To make it happen and proudly do it. So anyway, it's just an honor to work with people like that.
And they're already, and I don't mean to interrupt you, Doug, but I've got to tell you, because he's not going to say this. He says 1,500, but they're already having the meetings now. They've been having meetings for a month and a half, and this thing doesn't happen until the end of October, first part of November. I mean,
that's all free.
Volunteer.
Yes,
Well, I'd like to check it out next year.
Again,
I hear a lot about it.
It starts at the top. Really, congratulations.
Okay, well, back at you. You do this for us, and we appreciate it. It makes a big difference. So
it's
thanks,
good
Scott.
stuff. You've got to check it out. It's something special.
Well, in addition to all you do for the military, I'm impressed also with what American Airlines is doing in general with your employees. And I had the chance to meet with Mike Waldron, who's the American Airlines Managing Director of Diversity and Talent, where he shared some incredible insights about the tremendous strides that you're taking as it relates to diversity and inclusion. And I definitely want to get more into that.
Okay.
But he did speak very highly of your transparency as a leader. But he particularly spoke of your open communication style, your frontline engagement, in your town halls and everything. And so I'm curious to know what inspires you to be this type of leader, and what type of results are you seeing from this type of leadership behavior? Being transparent.
Well, thanks. That's nice of Mike. He's a member of our management team, so smart of him to say nice things.
Yes.
The raises in the mail. The raises in the mail.
Not the most unbiased source, but a very good guy who does great work for us. And anyway, to the extent the question is, what value do I see in being out and talking to people? That's how I learn. What's going on at the airline. I can't, they're the ones that are out there doing the work, and they're out flying the line. And our job is to make sure we're supporting them, giving them the tools they need, making sure that we are, rewarding them and thanking them for the great work they're doing, and making sure that that we're taking care of them. So the best way for me to do that is to go talk to them as much as I can. That's how I learn. So I view that as my job as much as anything, is to be out talking with the team. One, so that they can hear where their company is headed and how their company's doing, but most importantly, so I can hear from them what they're seeing and is it consistent with where we want to be headed, and then we can put that back in and make sure that we're taking care of each other. So it's not so much an intentional style as the only way I know how to do it. That's how I best know how to get the organization the place it needs to be, is being out and talking to people.
And do you feel the employees are being very responsive to this?
Well,
yeah,
we're making great progress. I mean, make no mistake. I mean, the American culture when we came in, coming out of a bankruptcy, was hurt. Mm-hmm. It's not where we want it to be. The team at American Airlines have been through so much, and through bankruptcies, through contract disputes, through furloughs, through pension terminations, just terrible things that happened to all the team members that resulted in some mistrust. I mean, a lot of it, as you would expect. I mean, when you work for an organization and those things happen, you will find that over time the people within the organization start to lose faith in the company they work for and the people they work for. So not that those people they worked for were not trustworthy. They just had really tough circumstances and had to go through terrible circumstances. So we've got a lot of mending to do. So I think one of the ways to do that is you spend a lot of time talking to each other. So hopefully it's making a difference. The other thing we're doing is making sure we're taking care of the team. The nice thing about the merger is it's made the company healthy. We're making significant profits now. We're using that to hire people, to give people pay raises. Since the merger just 4 years ago, the average American Airlines employee's pay has gone up by over 40%, as it should have. That's a good thing. We're happy about, and we're hiring lots of people. So again, we're not there yet, but the more we can, the more the company can be successful, the more we can share with the team, the more we can communicate with the team and make sure that they understand that they do work for a company that cares about them. We'll get there eventually.
Transparency and pay raises. Great way to build trust.
That's for sure. But transparency, with that, you talk about trust and what have you. One of the top initiatives is to validate trust by your team members, customers, investors, and the list goes on and on. So trust is certainly an important aspect of any leadership, any type or form of leadership. So I'm just kind of curious, this is kind of a two-parter here, Doug. What makes trust such an important practice? But maybe more importantly, what are some of the ways that you're building trust amongst your teams within American?
Yeah. Well, I'll go to the second one. Again, there's so much history here that we're not going to fix it overnight. So what we consistently tell the team is the way we build trust is to just do trustworthy things over a long period of time, and it will happen over time. It's not going to happen overnight, and we just need to keep doing trustworthy things over time. What that means for us, and one of the other things we like to say is let's come up with some positive surprises, things where people say, wow, that wouldn't have happened before. So, from the time we started, from the start of the merger, we did things such as, getting rid of assigned parking in headquarters, and saying, look, whoever gets here first, we're a meritocracy, but if you want the best spot, get here. And by the way, we don't want the officers to be in the office all the time. We want you to be out with the team. So that's a poor use of a valuable asset, because you shouldn't have your car parked there that often. So we did, some more symbolic things like that. But then as we've gone through and really making sure in terms of positive surprises, things such as giving our team profit sharing, even though it wasn't negotiated in their contracts, and it had been explicitly negotiated out. But other airlines had it. It didn't feel right that we didn't have it, so we just unilaterally put it in place. Our pilots and flight attendants, at about this point last year, we found ourselves in a position, even though at the time we signed contracts with them and they were industry leading, because of some other airlines leapfrogging them by a lot and them still having a good bit on their contract, they were going to be behind their peers at Delta and United for a few years. We didn't think that felt right, so we just unilaterally gave pay increases to our pilots and flight attendants to close that gap, even though we had signed contracts beyond that. Those were things that they never would have seen happen before, and now they're seeing it. So again, I'm not here to say that it's all fixed. But I know we're making progress, and I know the way we're going to continue to make progress is just continue to do trustworthy things over time.
Yeah. Well, sounds like a great culture, in which we describe as how work gets done. This is what creates the culture. And you're definitely inspiring a lot of change on how people do their job each day, certainly with the industry transforming the way it is. What specifically is changing within the culture at American Airlines, and how does agility play a role?
Yeah, that's a really good question. There is so much pent up demand at American because for investment, for change, for improvements in technology, for improvements in facilities, for improvements in the product. And, we have the capital now. Our biggest challenge is figuring out how to get it all done fast enough, agility, how to be more agile. And our team has just done an amazing, and on top of that, plus we had to integrate 2 airlines with this merger 4 years ago, which takes a lot of project work and capital and technology. So there's a lot of pent-up demand. The challenge we have now is how do we figure out how to do, the team's doing an amazing job in kind of the classic traditional, let's make a list of items, let's prioritize them, let's make sure they're all staffed and knock them off one at a time or concurrently. We're doing that better than I've ever seen any organization our size work together as a team. Having said that, it's still slower than we'd like it to be. So we've tasked our team now with trying to figure out how to be more nimble, figure out ways we can be more nimble. We have a phenomenal CIO named Maya Liebman who's leading that effort, but it's a company effort, not just a technology effort. And anyway, a lot of things. It's really about changing the way we design the work. I could go on for a long time and probably bore a lot of people, but there's much we can do in that area. It's a huge initiative of ours, and it's really about changing the way you do the work as opposed to just putting items on a list and making sure they're prioritized and staffed. Mm-hmm.
Helping people become more purposeful. Yeah. Help the workplace and what they're doing. Absolutely.
You talk about great companies around the world, Doug. American Airlines, I'm sure, has some long-term goals. Can you share with us a little about the vision that you hold for the company and strategic objectives on hand? And then how are you executing these strategies?
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, we have spent a good bit of time over the past year laying out strategic objectives that are forward-thinking. That is, as I said at the outset, what we want to do is build an organization that is that's playing the long game. That unlike we'd had to do in the past, where it was all about survival, a very finite game with very short-term thinking. We know now we want to go build an airline for the future. So we've laid out strategic objectives that are in line with that. Things like build a world-class product. That's not a 2018 objective, because we're not quite there yet, and we're not going to be there in 2018. But that's where we want to go. And we want to make sure we're making progress each year toward that. A bigger one, and certainly longer term, is make culture a competitive advantage. Now, given what I just told you about our culture and where we are, it's no way it's a competitive advantage right now. What I mean by that is where people say, I want to fly American because those people are so engaged and excited about what they do, and it makes me want to fly them versus someone else. That's not going to happen in 2018. But we know our people are certainly good enough that should be the case. We need to create the environment where they feel that cared for and that excited and have the tools they need that we can do that. So that's a strategic objective. On culture. And anyway, and a couple more like that. But they're all long term. They're all things that we go build objectives against for the year for 2018. But we really want to make this a longer term strategy.
Leadership development is something that is near and dear to our heart. As you are building this airline of the future, what are some leadership attributes that you may be applying to help develop your future leaders?
Oh, well, thank you. Well, we've spent a good bit of time on this over the last year too. Again, as we move to more long term thinking, what we know is we need to go build the leaders for the future of the airline, and we need to create a culture that develops leaders. Something again that I think to the extent we did that in the past, we did it just baptism by fire. And the way we created leaders was through crisis management as we tried to survive, and that works. You can find some, but that's not the right way to go develop leaders. So we've established a set of attributes that the company didn't have in the past, and if the company had them, they wouldn't have read this way. The first one is caring, and it's the word caring, but it talks more about the leader's job is to create an environment that cares for our frontline team, and that we need leaders that do that. The second one is collaboration. In today's world, more important than ever, we need leaders that know how to work together. We want no jerks. We want to have people that like working in teams, and that like to succeed, but they really like seeing other people succeed and helping other people succeed. We have on the list, as you would expect, results. It certainly, we care about. We're a competitive group. We need competitive people that can produce and that are driven to produce. And then we talk about the future and forward thinkers and people, rejecting the status quo, questioning every day why we do what we do, and making sure that we're always thinking and looking ahead. So those are the main ones, and we're holding all of our leaders now to those attributes. They're different than the kind of attributes they've been held to in the past, and anyway, so that's going to get us a much better team as we head forward, which is really important.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. Love
we
it.
want no jerks. Yep. I love that. Mm-mm. There's a few companies out there that ought to adhere to what he just said.
Yeah.
It actually reads, we have no jerks, but I'm not sure we're living up to that one yet. But so I say we're going to make sure.
I like that,
It's
Doug.
certainly the goal.
That's a classic. I'm going to remember that for a long time.
It's hard to change in some people.
Yeah, for sure. You got that right. There seems to be a science behind finding the balance between working in teams and collaboration overload. So my question to you is, what are some of the things that you might be doing at American to encourage effective collaboration? What comes to mind?
Well, thanks. First off, having leaders that do that. Mm-hmm. Like I said, it's a key leadership attribute, and we have to make sure we have leaders that thrive in team environments. Our president, for example, Robert Isom, is just a phenomenal leader, and he's just great at collaborating, and having him in place for the last year and a half has made a huge difference in how the entire team is working together. And when you see someone like that, a leader that knows how to do that, come in, you can just tell the value that's created, just how much everyone knows what each other's doing, and how much stronger that everyone works as a unit. So, but the other thing, for example, facilities matter. We happen to have a headquarters that was built, by Robert Crandall, who was an amazing CEO, but was one of these command and control, the guy's phenomenal, but I can't lead that way. And in today's world with information that flows as fast as it can, I don't think anybody really can, but it's literally silos. If you look at the building,
right.
They're not round silos, but they're
Right.
silos. And, information came up and someone decided what to do, and then it went down and it ran like a machine. But that's not the collaborative environment we need now. So we're building new headquarters with a lot of open space and people that can see each other, and open office environment, because we want the facility to reflect what we want our team to be and how we want our team to work. We figure out ways around that now, but it's hard, and the facility matters. So I'm excited about opening up that new headquarters in about another year and a half.
So it'll be about a year and a half. Is that what it is?
Yes.
Very cool. That's great.
Mm-hmm. And that will make all the difference in the world.
It makes a huge difference. We've actually gone to an open environment in that building for the executive wing. We blew out all of our offices, and what used to hold 3 executives and 3 assistants now holds 8 executives and 8 assistants in the exact same space, an open environment, so all of us are in, relatively small kind of open cubicles, and it's just amazing how much more we communicate and work, and how much better we work together.
Definitely.
Good for you.
No, our research has proven that to be so.
Great.
And has a direct impact on the bottom line. It really does.
Right.
So good for you. That's great. Well, earlier I mentioned Mike Waldron, who participated in the diversity inclusion studies that we conducted, and I brought a copy here.
Good.
It's radio, but you can't see it. It's how American Airlines leverages EBRGs. That's Employee Business Resource Group. It's an incredible study. And he highlights some impressive programs that are being implemented to promote diversity and inclusion at American. For example, doing simulated test flights for autistic children and their families. How cool is that? Open discussion forums on religious backgrounds and cultures so that flight attendants have an understanding why customers are asking certain questions. Just really, really impressive. How have these programs benefited the employee and, more importantly, I guess, the customer experience this far?
Yeah, well, look, those are amazing groups of people, and we're really proud of the work they do. It makes us a better airline. Look, I'll tell you a quick story on where we are as it relates to diversity and inclusion that I'm really proud of. It wasn't, sometime 5-6 months ago, we had an incident on an airplane where an African-American woman felt as though she was discriminated against. As a result of that, the NAACP put out a travel advisory against American Airlines.
Wow.
And we did, I think, what traditional, companies do, which is that first off, that doesn't seem right to us. That's not who we are. We know that. We're proud of things like our employee business resource groups. We connect. What we do is for a living is connect people. We fly over borders and walls and bring people together at a time that we think that's really important. So we're really proud of that. So this just doesn't feel right. And let's get everybody to come vouch for us and talk about all the things we do well. And fortunately, we were having a board meeting while this was going on. And fortunately, we have a diverse board. And as we were talking about what to do, and the board's agreeing, yeah, we should go get people. We need to kind of fight this as best we can. One of our board members, who happens to be a black man, says, I think this is an opportunity. No one's good at this. Why should we, while we may be better than others, we can't say we're great at it. Why don't we just embrace this? Why don't we just go to the NAACP and say, thanks. We want to work with you. We want to figure out how to be even better. We want to be the best in the world at this. And as soon as he said it, I just knew it was the right answer.
Yeah.
And it just made all the difference in the world at how we went about it and how we're now looking at this, because that's what we did. We showed up to this meeting and said to them, hey, we no defenses at all. Tell us what you think. We view this as a gift, and we're going to view it as a gift. We're going to go use this to figure out how to be the very best. We're going to figure out what the best in the world do, and we're going to be better than them. And we're in the middle of that now. We've hired an outside firm to come in and do a full audit of everything we do, from hiring to everything else in the organization, and see how we can do even better from a diversity and inclusion perspective. We've made it much more easy and clear for our team members to know where to go if indeed they feel like they've been discriminated against. We made it easier for our customers to the extent they feel discriminated against. So we're doing all these things, and we're not there yet, but we're going to do it best. And I'm really excited about that. It's as the example I told you about the board is, what it shows is, having diversity, inclusion, and equality in the organization leads to better decisions. We wouldn't have made that decision without that individual being there, who had a different background I did. And because of him, he made a decision. That's just a microcosm of how the entire company works as you get to have more diversity, inclusion, and equality. So we're excited about it. We're really proud of what we do. I'm not the least, none of this saying we want to be better is admitting guilt. It's just admitting humanism. We're humans, and we're not perfect at this, and we want to be better. Oh, the other thing, by the way, as part of this we're doing, everyone in the company is going to take some form of implicit bias training and go through some implicit bias training, because we all have them, and we just need to know make sure those things. So at any rate, it's great work we have ahead. We're excited about it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's fascinating. Hey, my hat's off to you for seeing it that way, because there's so many other people that see just the opposite. So many other corporations get so defensive and put the fists up, put the dukes up. Yeah, come on, we'll fight you. We'll take you on.
It's easy to do. I mean, we had a good defense. I mean, because it really is, because you feel offended.
Absolutely,
we really did. It's like, come
Absolutely.
on, that's not us. We know that's not true.
Right.
Because I have these great people like Mike Waldron who are doing great things, and so you worry actually when you don't defend that they feel like, gosh, why aren't you standing up for us? And we had to actually talk to him and say, look, this is not, you guys do great work. Again, we're not admitting guilt. We're admitting that we're human. We're admitting we're not perfect at this, and we want to be even better.
So help us
let's
get
just
better.
view it as a gift.
It's great humility.
Absolutely.
That's awesome.
So let me ask you that. Play off of this, if you might, Doug. Bucket list for American Airlines. With all the things that you get a chance to be a part of every single day, I'm sure there's some things out there that if you could just push a button and flip a switch, you'd change things about the industry or just in general. But when you give us a perfect example about something that was a negative and got all kinds of bad publicity for American, and yet you turned it around and made it a positive for your entire culture, that's huge. That's huge. So how about other things out there that you would, anything that in the bucket list that you'd like to see change, not only about this industry, but just as we move forward, your company, and I mean, you're the guy. What comes to mind?
I'd like to fix the weather patterns so we didn't have weather cancellations. But I'm probably not going to get that one done. Yeah. So I think more in line with what you're asking. What I'd really like is to make sure that is to get as quickly as we can to an environment whereby we don't put our team members in untenable situations. Airlines tend to do that because we're so focused on moving, as we need to be, moving metal, moving airplanes. It's really important. If it stops, everything's delayed for the rest of the day. It's really important that your throughput matters, and we have to move people. Sometimes that results in rules and regulations that put our team members in incredibly difficult situations that we shouldn't put them in. Therefore, some sort of event occurs that's not their fault; it's the company's fault. We put them in that situation, and we shouldn't have done that. And that happens too often still. We put our team members in bad spots. We're working really hard to try and figure out how not to do that, and making sure that the team knows that stop. We're never going to care if you choose to de-escalate, if you choose to delay because this doesn't feel right. That's all fine. That's not what we mean when we're trying to just keep metal moving. Don't get, if you're not comfortable in a situation, don't get it to a spot that because we put you in it, that you're doing something you don't feel comfortable doing. So, but that's a lot easier said than done, because we're also at the same time telling people to move airplanes.
Absolutely.
So anyway, we'll keep working on that one.
Okay, good for you.
That takes some work.
Good for you. Hey, one more question.
Yes, please.
As the chairman, CEO, what do you cherish most about what you do every single day? I mean, what an incredible job to be the CEO and chairman of American Airlines. So as we wrap this up, just final thoughts. You get the last word. What a great opportunity, and you've just been a joy. I want you to know that. You've been great the last 45 minutes. I'd like to work for you. I'd be happy. Would you not?
Oh, I would.
Would you not like to work for a guy like this? Yeah.
You're very kind. Well, anyway, what I love is working with the team we work with. I mean, it's an absolute honor and a privilege to go and see what it is our team does every day and how important what they do is. I mean, a gate agent at American Airlines over the course of a day is getting, if that gate agent works 5 flights, that's 750 people that he or she is allowing to get to another place so they can see their family, so that they can, transact business. We make commerce run, so that they can go see the world, and they're making a difference in that. And if that person doesn't show up that day, 750 people didn't get to live their lives the way they wanted. And so what our team does, it's a really noble profession that our people do. And we're really proud. It's really just an enormous honor to be a part of it and to watch them do it and see how well they do it and how much they care about what they do and how well they know how to do it, just as long as we give them the tools to do it right.
Absolutely. My daughter was in college freshman, sophomore, and junior summers.
Yeah.
After that particular year, she worked at American at the ticket counters.
Oh, really?
At DFW Airport. Loved every minute of it. Talks about it to this day. So great experience for her. All right, and certainly our thanks to the chairman and the CEO of American Airlines, Doug Parker. Angel, thanks to you.
Yeah, thank you, Scott.
All right, very good. And as we always remind you, live your legacy by leading the way. Till next week, I'm Scott Murray.
And I'm Angel Carlton.
Have a great week, everybody.
Good night.